Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special Glacial Geek Battle Report. I am Phil, the Glacial Geek, coming to you here from the Mini Wargaming Bunker in Welland, Ontario, where I am joined by Steve of Mountain Miniatures with an S Gaming, well, it used to be one, but now he plays with many miniatures, and Mini Wargaming to have a very special battle report with Boom Apocalypse! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be doing an Apocalypse battle report here in front of us. We have Dark Angels and a Knight against my Genestealer cult. So, essentially, this battle report is, fresh out the box. So if you gotta give us all of the leeway in case we get some of this wrong after you've had lots of time to read the book. We've read through the rules. We think we've got it straight. Steve's actually had a little bit more experience than I have. He played a little bit earlier today than I did. But we're going to go through this. We're going to play the game. And we're going to do a very simple one where we're just trying to kill each other. So essentially what we're going to do at the end of turn 5, whoever kills the most points worth of models will win. So before we get any further, though, let's show you the two sides that are going to be fighting it out. No, don't record. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is 185 points of Genestealer cult. So going over this here, we have a Spearhead detachment with 3 Rock Grinders with Clearance Incinerators in them. We've got a Vanguard detachment here with 2 Kellermorphs and a Locust. We've got a Spearhead detachment with 3 Leman Russes with Battle Cannons, Multi-Melta Sponsons, and Las Cannons. We have another Vanguard detachment here with 3 5-man Aberrant squads, a Biophagus, and an Abominant. We have a Battalion detachment with 3 10-man Acolyte hybrid squads, along with an Acolyte Icon Ward. Each of these squads has 10 guys, 4 of which have heavy weapons. So we've got 4 heavy rock saws, 4 heavy rock drills, and 4 heavy rock cutters. We then have an Outrider detachment here with a Jackal Alphys, 2 Ridge Runners with mining lasers, and 2 4-man Jackal squads. We then have another one of those Vanguard detachments with 3 5-man Aberrant squads and a Patriarch. And we have another, I've got a lot of Vanguards here. Another Vanguard detachment here with 3 5-man Pure Strain squads and a Patriarch. So that is 185 power level in the game of Apocalypse version of Genestealer cult. We're just going to move right on over here to 185 points worth of Dark Angels. We've got, these are 10-man squads, or are these?
It's a 1 10-man Terminator.
1 10-man Deathwing Terminator squad, and then 2 5-man Deathwing Knight squads, and Belial. We've got, this is a Vanguard detachment, right? Vanguard detachment. We then have, this is the Spearhead detachment. We've got 3 Devastator squads, 1 10-man, 2 5-man squads. The 2 5-man have las cannons. The 1 10-man has plasma cannons. We have, and a Venerable Dreadnought with twin las cannon missile launcher, and we have a Master along with them over here. We've got a Knight Crusader. Warden, a Knight Warden along with him here. We then have over here, we have his Outrider detachment. So we have, is it a Talonmaster or Samael?
Talonmaster.
Talonmaster up front there, along with 2 Land Speeders and a Dark Shroud. We've got another Spearhead detachment over here with a Land Raider with the 2 las cannons and 3 Vindicators. So I've got a lot more models. I've got a lot more detachments. We're the exact same number of points. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. We're just as excited to play this as I'm sure you guys are excited to see this go down. So like I said, the mission that we're going to be playing is just trying to kill each other. So we are just going to be trying to attack each other, going through the motions and showing you guys how the whole process works. So we will now come back to you here with turn 1. All right, so the first step is into the initiative phase. We will now roll off whoever gets the highest on these D12s. So Steve gets an 8, I get a 4, meaning that Steve has the initiative. After this, we will now move into the orders phase. All right, so into the orders phase. The very first thing you do, part A of the orders phase, is to mark out units that are out of command. Essentially, the way it works, models within a unit have to be within a quarter or half an inch of at least 2 other models from their multi-model unit. So a 5-man squad or a 10-man squad, you have to be within half an inch of 2 other models to be in unit coherency. But detachments have to so units can go wherever they want, but they have to be, if they don't end up within 12 inches of their commander, which is the model or the unit with the highest leadership within the detachment, or a character within that detachment, then they can have trouble. They get marked as out of command in the next orders phase that occurs there. So, for instance, over here, this detachment, this guy's the leader. This guy's the commander for this detachment, because it's just they've all got the same leadership. So I just choose this one because he's a different color. Makes it easy. However, over here, because I've got a character over here, he becomes the commander. So they get special things that they can do, but as long as my other units in this detachment are within 12 inches of him, they're within order for this portion of it. Each detachment has a commander within that detachment. It doesn't have to be a character like I showed over here. We had over here, these are not characters, but he's the commander just because every detachment has to have a commander. If he dies, I choose another one, the next highest leadership. But if you have a character who is your commander, or is it an HQ or a character?
It just says character.
It just says character. So if it's a character that is your commander, you get benefits. You can draw more cards, asset cards, and we'll get into that in a second, but that's the reason that you have that. You also choose to have a War Master, which is basically you choose the one character, not the one warlord. Oh no, it's warlords, aren't they? Whatever it is, you choose the one. You choose the one guy. You're going to choose a character. So that you're going to choose one of your commanders in these detachments to be your War Master, who's like basically your warlord from regular 40K. In this instance, I chose my Acolyte Icon Ward because these guys I hope to get stuck into business. So he's going to be my warlord, my War Master. Steve has chosen his master over here to be his War Master so that he can get benefits, because he doesn't want to get Belial to be his, since Belial's going to hopefully get stuck in it. So that is what happens there. So you may notice that these Terminators are now over here. So he had them in reserves. But in the orders phase, the next part of what you do is you bring in reinforcements. Terminators have a special ability called Deep Strike, because now there are special abilities that are universal general rules that go on here. So they have Deep Strike, which means that in his order phase, because he has initiative, he's going first, he will now deploy his reserves. The Deep Strike allows them to deploy more than 9 inches away from any enemy models on the table. It doesn't count as a move. He can still activate them further on, as we'll get into, but that is where they are deployed here.
Let me clarify one thing, because terminology might be a thing.
Sure.
Okay, so this is my War Master.
That's his War Master. Yes.
So every commander.
Yes.
In a detachment that is every commander that is a character is a warlord.
Oh, that's right. That's what it is. So every detachment has a commander. This is the commander. He's the commander of this detachment, but because he's a character, he becomes a warlord. This is also a warlord. This is also a warlord, because they are commanders of their own individual detachments. But you choose one of your warlords, in this case him, or one of your command. It could be one of your commanders if you don't have a warlord, but you're going to want to choose a warlord because you get special benefits for it. He is going to be my War Master, and the master that I showed you before is going to be his War Master. So basically, they're just your super special warlords.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense, because if you think about it, this is supposed to represent apocalypse. This is supposed to be like massive armies that are being led by all sorts of different warlords that have come together to fight on this battlefield. So you have your War Master, though, that tries to general them all on the field of battle. So we're going to keep moving on now in the orders phase. All right, so the next phase is going to be to secure assets,
So
or
we're generating command.
generating command assets. So essentially, you're going to have a deck of up to 30 cards from command assets in your hand. Some of them are specific to your faction. Some of them are specific to factions within your faction. So for instance, Four-Armed Emperor or Twisted Helix. So in each of these detachments, I named them as a specific sub-faction. His are Dark Angels, which is how he works there. They're a specific sub-faction of the Adeptus Astartes. Mine, I have, everyone's going to be Four-Armed Emperor, except for the units that are the Aberrants. Those are going to be Twisted Helix. So essentially what happens is now you have that deck of 30 cards that you shuffle up and you draw cards. You can always draw one card, and then you draw one additional card for every warlord that you have. So that's a commander that is a character again. So Steve has drew 4 cards, the 1 basic card, plus the 3 characters that he has, the 3 character warlords that he has. I, on the other hand, have 7 cards that I drew because I had the 1 base plus the 6 characters that I have as warlords, giving me 7 cards in my hand. So at that point, it becomes useful because you don't need to bring any characters, but you can. And when you do, you get more assets, which can do some super cool stuff, which we'll go through as they become points. Because each of the cards will tell you when you can use them and what you can use them for. So you go back and forth. So Steve had initiative. So Steve got his assets, and then I got my assets. So that is what is it again? The word they use? Generating command assets. All right, so now we are going to issue orders. There are 3 different orders that you can give a detachment. You have to give it to the whole detachment that you can give. The one on the left there, the red one, is called an assault action. What this allows you to do is when you activate the detachment, every unit in the detachment can make 1 move action, but they get to double their move characteristic while making that. They are then allowed to make 1 fight action. They cannot shoot. So if you have a mixed unit, so you have some that can shoot, some that can attack, you kind of have to make a decision if you're going to do the assault one that the ones who can shoot aren't going to shoot. So that's what you can have there with the red one. If you give them the green one, that's the advance action. What it allows them to do is make 1 move action for the regular movement. And then in addition to that, they can make 1 shooting action or 1 fight action, up to them. So say you have a mixed squad. So like I was talking about, so say you have some that are going to be good at punching, but some that are going to be doing better at shooting. So for instance, Steve's unit over here of Terminators, right? These guys do not shoot. So they want to get stuck in and fight. If he chooses advance for them, every one of these units here has to make a move, even the shooting ones, and can make an attack. But if he chooses an advance, they all make a move action, but only at their regular movement speed, and then he can choose. So say he wants these guys to stay back and shoot because he has some targets that he wants those cyclone missile launchers to take out, and he wants these guys to get stuck in and fight. He can make that call with the advance one, which is what the benefit of that is. But if he chooses the assault, these guys cannot shoot. So even if they don't get into fight, even if they don't get into combat, they're not allowed to shoot with their weapons because he chose the assault.
There is one exception to the advance. Super heavies?
Yes.
When they advance, they can do 1 shoot and 1 fight.
Oh, okay. So super heavies, like his knight, are allowed to do 1 move, and then they're allowed to do 1 shoot and 1 fight in the phase. Because when they're locked in combat, they can still shoot and be shot while they're in combat. So that's the only exemption to the advance rule of one or the other of fight or shoot. They can do both. The third option there, the blue one, is aimed fire, which means that your unit, your detachment, entire detachment, cannot move at all. Cannot move. If there's no options. They just can't move. They get no move phase. But they can then shoot, and they get +1 to any shooting attacks, or -1 to any fight attacks that they make, because they can make 1 fight or 1 shoot attack, but they get -1 to the fight and +1 to the shoot. So say, for instance, that you're engaged, you've got a shooty unit that's engaged in a fight, and you're engaged with a fight with a unit that you know he doesn't really want in combat, right? You can try and take the risk of giving it the aimed fire action and hold it there, and hope that he activates his detachment and falls back because then you can shoot because you're no longer engaged. But if he decides to stay in combat with you just because of the way his orders go, suddenly now he's in trouble because he goes, oops, there's nothing I can do about that because I can't shoot. I can't, and I'm going to be -1 when we actually get into the fight. So those are the 3 different options you have. You then go back and forth alternating, placing an order on each of your detachments face down so that no one knows when it's going back and forth what they have when you're making your decision. So that I don't know if he's going to come charging at me with these guys over here or if he really wants to shoot me with them. Or is he going to hold off activating those guys so that he can hope that I move forward and then get into charge range? Because their movement is 5. So they're 9 inches away, so they can't go in unless they do an assault move.
Right.
So if they don't do an assault move, they're stuck. They can't do anything there. They're not going to be able to get into the fight. But they can hope that I move forward to get closer, and that could be what he plays out. Because he looks at my guys and goes, well, they look pretty aggressive. So I'm going to wait back. I'm going to hold back and see what they can do. Or maybe he doesn't do that.
I think you're assuming something, though, Phil.
Yeah?
Now that we've issued our orders,
yes,
we don't keep these secret anymore.
Yes.
Now we reveal everybody.
Yes. So now that they're all placed there, I guess we can all reveal what they are. So what happens is once these are all put down. So this is all these mind games that you're playing there are with your opponent when you're putting this down, because you sit there and you go, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? And you go through all of this, and then you reveal them all, which we will do right now. All right, so going over what we have here for our orders, this detachment back over here I gave them the advance order because I know I'm not going to get into the fight and be able to use that, but they don't have any shooting anyway, and I kind of want to move them twice. Same thing with this unit up here. This unit, on the other hand, does have some shooting, so I just gave them the advance order so that they're going to move and be able to shoot. This detachment over here got the got the assault order. This unit got the take aim order. This one got the assault order. They got the advance order and advance order on these guys as well. His guys over here got the assault order. These guys got take aim. He got advance order over here. Advance order on these guys. And advance order on this detachment. Interesting. Oh, because it's short range on your guns? 24-inch range on his guns. So there we go. That's how we know about that. So that is the orders that we've got down there. So that is going to be the order phase. Alrighty, so that is the orders phase. Now we go into the action phase. This is when all the fun stuff happens. But this is to show you a little bit of the mechanics of how this works. I have a command asset card that I am going to use called Enemy Voxnet Subverted. It gets used at the beginning of at the start of the action phase. When used, select one enemy detachment, excluding fortification network detachments. Your opponent must replace the order that is currently issued to the detachment with a different order.
Oh no!
I'm going to do that onto these guys here. So now they cannot do assault. Yes, you can pick, but you can't have it be the assault one. So they are going to have to change there, which means that even if he chooses advance, he's guaranteed to do. He's going to take advance on these guys. He can only move his regular movement speed of 5. So if they get activated first, they are not going to be able to get into fight with me, and they're going to have to miss out on their fight there. So dirty, but that's fun. That's what these asset cards do. So you use them once and then they get discarded. You go through your whole deck, and if you finish with your deck, you just reshuffle it and start over again with them. But yeah, so that just goes to show you what you can do here. So suddenly now his plans have to change. All right, so Steve is now going to use a command asset card called Orbital Strike. What this will allow him to do is this command asset can be used in the action phase. Doesn't specify when, so we're just going to do it now. When used, select a point on the battlefield that is visible to at least one warlord from your army. So Belial can see this point right there where we put that marker. Roll 1d12 for each unit within 6 inches of that point. Subtracting 1 from the roll if the unit being rolled for is a light character. Light characters It's in their description in their data slate. You can read all the data slates if you go to the Warhammer community page. They've got all of them there free to download, which is pretty incredible. But they've got, it'd be basically any character that's not like a vehicle. Like if a super heavy character is like
everything's light or heavy.
Everything's light or heavy. So if you're going to be a tank, you're probably going to be heavy. If you're going to be like a dude bro, you're probably just going to be light. So, but the vehicles over there are heavy. So for instance, the Talonmaster is probably a heavy character.
Yes.
So he's a heavy character, which he is. So you -1 for light characters, and on a 7 through 10, you place 1 blast marker next to the unit being rolled for. On an 11 plus, place 2 blast markers next to the unit being rolled for. So we're going to go through this. So, all right, so he's going to pull it back over here so that it hits this unit. It's going to hit 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 these 2 guys. It's probably going to hit these 2.
Hoping to get,
Getting these 2, and he's going to hit these 2 as well. So we're going to go through. So we'll go with the first one over here. On a 3, nothing's going to happen. On the middle one, a 10, that's going to be 1 blast marker. On this one over here, a 2, nothing happens. This squad over here, a 10 is going to get a blast marker. This character over here, on an 11 gets to a 10, so it doesn't get 2 blast markers, only gets the 1 because it's a light character. Into my other light character over here. A 12 gets marked down to an 11, so 2 blast markers get placed onto him. And then we've got a couple more over here. So we're gonna get the blast markers so we can keep this straight. All right, so now we're gonna go into this unit over here. 8, so that's going to be a blast marker. Onto the unit back over here. On a 6, nothing's gonna happen. Onto this guy. 12 gets a 2 blast markers here, so why don't you get one of the large ones. So essentially what happens is if you get 1 blast marker, you get a small blast marker. If you get a second blast marker, it becomes a large blast marker. Onto this one over here. A 4, nothing happens. And onto this one over here.
Range.
He wasn't in range?
Nope,
you measured from that point?
Yep.
Okay, he's safe over there. So we just got these 2 guys. So, pretty good. So, that was a pretty good use of your asset cards. All right, so Steve has now moved. He activated this detachment here in as his first activated detachment. He moved these guys slightly forward over this way. He moved these guys slightly back so they're out of 12 inches of my guys here, so they won't be able to get into combat with him. And he moved these guys back back so that they are also more out of 12 from my guys over here. So bold move there, turning my change there into your benefit over here. So, but now they can have an action of either an attack or a shooting action. So this unit right here is now going to shoot. All right, so these guys are going to fire. So Deathwing Terminators have 2 attacks on a 10-man squad. That's what they have. So it's going to be close or shooting. They have 2 attacks. With the Cyclone Missile Launchers, they get 2 attacks each because you pay extra power to put them into your squad there. So they are going to have 4 Cyclone Missile Launcher attacks. But because he's got the 2 attacks each, Stormbolters in a unit give you ×2 the amount of attacks. So it doesn't matter how many have Stormbolters, just the fact that there are Stormbolters and they are firing, they get 2 times the attacks. They're going to have 4 Stormbolter attacks from this squad shooting out here. So what are going to be your targets?
Stormbolters?
Stormbolters are going to go into these guys.
Cyclone Missile.
Cyclone Missile into the Abominant?
No, sorry, the tank that's...
Into this tank over here, the injured tank. So we're going to go with the Stormbolters first.
Stormbolters, okay, we're hitting on 3.
Hitting on 3s, so that's going to be 3 hits.
No, Stormbolter Sap is 7.
Sap is 7, so he needs
now you always roll
D12s. D12s into damage over here. 7 pluses will do damage. Only 1 damage from those. And now the Cyclone Missile Launcher into here. So they got hit with 1. So they turned their small blast from the orbital bombardment into a large blast. So now this guy's going to get hit with Cyclone Missile Launchers. 4 attacks.
No.
Going to have their what?
3's to hit. But
3's to hit.
Belial's like here, so you can reroll.
So he gets to reroll because of Belial.
Oh,
doesn't make a difference. So that's going to be 3 hits. 3 D12s to roll here.
And my stat for these guys are they're 7. So
these are going to be 7. So you need 7 plus. So he gets 1 onto this guy back over here. So there's 2 weapons have 2 different profiles. They have strength against personnel, SAP, and strength against tanks, SAT. They do, depending upon if you're shooting into a heavy, like a tank or that, or whether you're shooting into dude bros, it'll tell you what you do. So a flamer, for instance, does really well, has a really low number that you have to get to wound into dude bros, but a very high to wound into tanks. And a las cannon has the exact opposite going on with them. So this guy now takes another blast marker. All right, so now I'm going to activate my Rock Grinder detachment over here. They have the advance activation here. So they are going to move up here, and they have the 3 of them are going to move up their 10 inches towards his dude bros right there. And now each of them is armed with a clearance incinerator, which means that they are going to have 2 attacks. Strength against personnel is a 6+. Right? The attacks is just 2. So each of them is going to have 2. Do you do it individually?
Yep. Well, you activate one at a time now.
You activate one at a time of these guys. So we're going to activate this guy first. So he is going to shoot into these guys over here. Essentially, what happens now is I have a ballistic skill of 4+. So now they have to roll, right? 2 attacks, 4+. Getting 1 hit. So against personnel, the clearance incinerator has a 6+. Ability Inferno. So we have to look that up in a second.
You know what? So what? Inferno is the auto hit.
Oh, Inferno is the auto hit. So it's 2 auto hits. Yeah. So there we go. My bad. Inferno is auto hit, so it's basically flamers. So clearance incinerator, that's 2 auto hits. So 6+ into personnel there. Is going to do 1 blast to him over here. We ran out of small blast over here. So we'll do the next one over here. Is going to go into the same group. 6+ does 1 more, so that becomes a large. And then the third one's going to do it again, getting 2 more to that one, so another large blast onto them. All right, so now Steve is going to activate his Devastators over here. They're going to have aimed fire, which means that they can shoot, can't fight, and well, they can fight if they want, but they're going to be -1 to hit and fight, but they can't move. And shooting, they get +1 to hit. So who are we going to go with first?
Start with this squad here. Nobody's
going to activate this squad here. Nobody can move.
And they're going to shoot right there.
They're going to shoot right into my dude bro over here. So it's going to be 4 attacks because they've got the 4 las guns, right? It's like
and the bolt gun can't fire.
And the bolt gun can't fire because there's only the 4 there. Yep. Looking for 2s to hit.
Yeah, we're rolling 1 because we're close to the master.
Rerolling 1 because of the master over here. So that's going to be 4 hits. So now 4 D12s.
5. Looking
for 5 pluses. So getting 4. Oof, rough. Now the next las cannon squad's going to go into the other guy over here. So again, hitting on 2s because it's +1 to hit, all hits. Now looking for 5s because this is against strength against tanks. So SAT. So getting 3 wounds on that one. Now his Venerable Dreadnought is going to fire into my last one over here. I saw where this was going. I saw the way things were adding up.
Hitting on 2s.
Hitting on 2s. Re-rolling. Is it?
It's normally at 6.
Okay.
My War Master trait with my auras extended by 6.
Okay, so his War Master trait, which is this is his War Master, extends his aura by 6. So usually it's 6 inches, but now it's 12 inches, so it does hit him, so he does get to re-roll that. That's 2 hits. And then the same thing, these are las cannons, so 5+, getting 1. And now he has the missiles. 1 shot, that's a hit. 7. No. So now his 10-man squad is going to fire. They've got plasma cannons, which have a special rule called Supercharge, which means a roll of a hit to 1 will actually give him a blast marker. The bolters, because it's a 10-man squad, can actually fire. So the bolters are going to fire into these guys, into this guy. Yep. The plasma cannons into this guy. So we're going to go with the plasma cannons first, right?
Yeah, plasma cannons. Oh, we're going to supercharge.
We're going to supercharge. So you can choose to supercharge or not, right? So that's all hits because it's +1 to hit because of that.
Supercharge gives you +1 to wound.
Okay, supercharge gives +1 to wound. So your usual strength against tanks is what?
7.
Is 7. So now he has 4 that he's going to need 6s for because he's got +1. Oh, good thing you supercharged because that means 3 more hits that would have only been 1. So now the bolt guns are going to fire. He gets 2 shots over here, hitting on 2s. Both hits. Strength against tanks
9.
Is 9, so he needs 9 pluses.
No.
Nothing. All right, so that's my turn. I'm going to use an asset card called Experimental Subjects. So my armies, like I said, are all Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor except for the Aberrant squads, which are going to be Twisted Helix. So there is a card here, Genestealer, called Experimental Subjects. This command asset can be used in the action phase. When used, select 1 detachment from your army led by a Twisted Helix commander. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by Twisted Helix units in that detachment. So I'm going to use it on this one, and I'm going to now activate these guys. So Steve has used Apocalypse, a Minefield asset card here. This command asset can be used when your opponent selects one of their detachments to carry out an assault order. Before any units in that detachment make a move action, including free actions this phase, when used until the end of the turn, roll a d6 each time a unit in that detachment ends a move action. On a 1, place a 1 blast marker next to that unit. So all of my units moved up here. So we're gonna go with this guy, these guys first on a 1.
You gotta do it.
Do I do it?
You do it.
You unused until the end of the turn. Roll 1. No, it's because it's for you. Roll 1d6.
Right.
Yeah. So onto this unit first. 1. No. Onto this unit over here. No. Onto the Biophagus. No. Onto the Abominant. No. And onto these guys over here.
Yeah.
Oh, they take a blast marker. Boop. Also of note, my Biophagus has an ability that at the beginning of the turn, he can move with his movement phase here. When he started the beginning of the action phase, he can basically make one unit of Aberrants have +1 attack until the end of the battle. So he gave it to this unit when he did his thing. All right, so we're going to go along the way here for all of the units that are engaged here with the Aberrants. So the first squad of Aberrants over here, because they made it with base to base with his guys over here, are going to attack. Aberrant weapons, they don't make a difference between picks or hammers, are going to be ×2 attacks. So they've got 1 base attack when they are a 5-man squad. So we're going to have 2 attacks here, hitting on 3s. All right, so that's going to be 2 hits. Strength against personnel is 5+. That squad now has 1 blast marker. This squad over here got the +1 attack from the Biophagus. So now they are going to have 4 attacks into them because it's ×2 attacks. These are going to be looking for 3+. All right, so all hits. Those 2 6s, because of the Abominant being where he is, are 2 additional hits. So that's gonna have 6 hits into them there. We've only got 4 D12s over here. There's other ones over there. We got other ones hiding because we're probably gonna have some big expensive ones in here. So 6 looking for 5+ wounds. Getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blasts onto them. And then the last Aberrant squad into them over there. Not getting either hit. Rough. And now my Biophagus is going to attack in. 1 attack. That's a hit. It's going to be a 5+ for his Injector Goad. No. So I forgot that he had the experimental subjects on them. So that means that we went through and one of them actually rolled a 4, so it gets an additional blast marker onto those dude bros over there. All right, so now Steve's going to activate his knight there, who's going to move 12 inches up over this way.
I just want to double check something.
Oh, he's going to double check that?
I want to make sure you're...
Just wanted to make sure you were in where you needed to be. So he's going to move right over there. And now, what are you going to do?
The Gatling gun is going to go
Gatling gun
them.
Is going to go after them. They don't get benefit for being behind cover from you, right?
You have to be close to it.
I have to be close to it, so yeah.
And then the Melt-A-Gun will go after her.
And the Melt-A-Gun will go after Madubro over here. So what are we going to do first?
Let's do the Melt-A-Gun.
Melt-A-Gun on a 3+. So that's a hit. Strength against vehicle.
I'll double check. I'm gonna roll real quick, and then I think it's that.
4+.
The Melt-A-Gun is it's a 7. Never mind.
It's a 7+ against vehicle, so the Melt-A-Gun does not wound him over here. But now we have the Gatling gun, which is going to be 4 shots, hitting on 3s.
It is.
So it's going to be 4 hits. Strength against personnel.
It is actually a respectable 4.
4+ on these strength against personnel. Ooh. Getting 2 blasts. All right, so now this detachment back here is going to activate. We're going to start with the guy over here. He's going to fire his las cannon and battle cannon into his knight, and the multi-meltas into his dubros over there. So we're going to do the 2 multi-meltas first, hitting on, I think 4s. Yes, 4+. So 1 hit. Unfortunately, multi-melta is 10+ against personnel. Not really designed for shooting peeps. Oh yeah, so no wound there. Then we're going to shoot the las cannon. So the las cannon is going to be 1 shot here. Whoop, dropping things. 1 shot. That's not a hit. And then we have the battle cannon, which is going to be, if I could just see what I'm doing here, 1 attack. That's not a hit. Next guy's going to do the exact same thing. So multi-meltas getting 1 hit. Looking for a 10+. Nope. Then we're going to have the las cannon. That is a hit. Strength against the las cannon. Strength against there is going to be a 5+.
Oh!
Of course, I roll a 1. And then the battle cannon into him is going to be a hit.
No.
This is going to be a. Why?
I'm scared.
Oh, he's obscured because he's covered with terrain there. So that 4 actually became 3. So I couldn't actually hit him. I needed a 5 to hit, but I did not hit. All right, then Steve, the jerk that he is, managed to place his knight exactly in the way. This little tiny thing here is exactly in the way that nothing of my tank here can actually see his knight over there. So I'm going to put the multi-meltas into these guys, the battle cannon and the las cannon into the Talon Master back over there. So we're going to go the multi-meltas first, getting 2 hits. These are looking for 10 plus, doing 1 wound over there. Then the las cannon is -1 to hit because of the Dark Shroud back over there, so looking for a 5 plus. That's a hit. This is going to be looking for a 5 up because of the las cannon. That's good for the 5 up. And the battle cannon is a hit as well. Nice. And a wound. All right, so now Steve has activated his Outrider detachment over here. Moving up, this guy pulled over here so he can give his little obscured bubble over to these guys. These guys moved up slightly here, but everybody's within 12 because always got to keep in mind of your command distance for next turn. So what are we up to? What are we going to do now? So because they had the advanced marker, so they can make 1 move and then shoot or attack.
Yeah. Talon Master's going to fire first.
Talon Master's going to fire first.
He's going to go for that squad.
He's going to go into the back squad over here, or the middle squad over here. So what's his deal that he's got going on?
So he's got, just like he's looking, a couple of heavy bolters and a couple of...
Yeah, the twin heavy bolters and the twin assault cannons.
So twin assault cannon. There's the 4th one.
Sorry. Twin assault cannon.
Is hitting on 3s.
Hitting on 3s.
Oh.
Cody gets the 2 hits there.
And against personnel, we're looking for 6s.
Looking for 6s against personnel. No, nothing there. And then the heavy bolters is just 2. So that's going to be 2 hits.
And 7s.
Looking for 7s. Getting both of those. Okay. Sure.
Why not?
And as Dark Shroud is going to fire his heavy bolter into the same squad over there.
3s.
Getting 2 hits.
And 7s because heavy bolter.
Getting no wounds. He says it adds up to 7, which means nothing, Steve! It means nothing! So now this dude bro here is going to fire his heavy bolter into the middle squad there and the Typhoon launchers into my poor tank that had done nothing wrong to you over here. So here comes the heavy bolter. 1 hit.
1 and 7.
7. Yeah. Getting a wound. And now the Cyclone missile launchers. That's going to be 2 hits.
And 7s.
Looking for 7s against tanks. Getting nothing.
It's a total. Come on.
Once again, Steve, it doesn't matter if it adds up to 7. God, this guy, am I right? This guy's going to have the same split. He's going to put, except he's going to put the heavy bolter into the front one and the Cyclone missile launcher same into the tank over there.
Heavy bolter.
Heavy bolter. That's going to be 2 hits.
7s.
Getting 2 wounds. And then the Cyclone missile launchers getting 1 hit.
7.
No wound. All right, so now these guys are going to activate. So the only ones I could get into, I got like within like a ½ an inch. He pulled back perfectly for me to be able to get into base to base with these guys over here. So it's not within an inch of an inch like it is previously. It's just into base to base with them. So this unit though will get to attack into these guys. All right, so there's 4 rock saws in the squad into this Terminator squad over here. So they're going to be 1 attack each. They're going to be hitting on 3s. So that's going to be 2 hits. These are now heavy rock saws. They're now 5 plus against personnel. So that's going to be 2 more into him. And then the Rending Claws are ×2 into here. So they've got 2 attacks as a 10-man squad. So 4 attacks hitting on 3s. That is going to be 3 hits. These are now going to be, I need 1 more D12. Good. Thanks, sir. These are now going to be, I just said it 2 seconds ago. 6 plus against personnel. Getting 3 more. All right, so that is it for that detachment there, because these guys aren't in base to base, so they can't make an attack and they can't shoot because I gave them the assault move. All right, so now this detachment activated. They've got the advanced move, so they moved up slightly over here to get within 24 inches of some targets over here, and then this guy over here moved up over this way. So
two twin
start over here. So there's 2 twin las cannons.
Middle guy.
Into the middle guy over here,
and
then the heavy bolter into the back squad over here. So we're gonna go with the 2 twin las cannons.
On 3s.
On 3s, that's all hits.
And 5s.
5s. Getting 3. And now the heavy bolters, 3s and 7s. Getting nothing there. All right, so now this one over here is going to go against the bikes in the front there, right? So this is going to be 2 attacks, hitting on 3s.
Ooh.
1 hit.
6s.
Looking for a 6, does not go off. So they have a special rule called Destroyer, which means that they, for every blast marker they hand out that they give to you, it actually counts as 2. So instead of doing the small blast for the first one, it would be the large one there. So pretty awesome. So now the middle guy
same squad
is going to go into the same squad over here because he doesn't like them. 2 hits that time. 6s. 2, which means you get 2 big blasts. Gross. And then this squad is going to go into my aberrants over here, or this guy is going to go into him. 2 hits. 6s. 1. So then I activated this squad over here. So we've got my 2 Kellamorphs and my Locust. We're gonna go with the Kellamorph now into these, the first Kellamorph into these guys. They're gonna have Liberated Auto Stubs are attacks times 2, so 2 attacks, hitting on 2s. That is 2 hits. These are now going to be 6 plus, or 6, or was that 8? That is an 8 plus against personnel. Getting 1. So now the second one's going to shoot into them as well. Because the first guy got a successful wound on them, I now get to reroll failed hit rolls of 1 for him. So here we go. That is 2 hits. That is 1 wound. All right, so this detachment activated now because Steve doesn't have any more detachments to activate, so I go now finish off the rest of my side here. So this one activated. Before they did anything, the Jackal Alphys elected the middle one as her target, so everyone in this detachment within 6 inches, or every friendly cult units within 6 inches of her get +1 to hit. So we are going to go with the Achilles Ridge Runner over here. He is going to fire his the heavy mining laser that he has there. So it's going to be 1 attack. Hitting on his ballistic skill is a 4-up, so now a 3-up into the middle one, her preferred target. That's a hit. So now the damage for the heavy mining laser is SAT is going to be a 5+. Ooh, of course he does. And then the heavy stubbers are going to fire into him as well. 2 attacks. Getting 1 hit, looking for a 10+. Nope, nothing. Rinse and repeat with this dude bro into him. That's going to be a hit because of the +1. And then looking for a 5-up with the mining laser. That is a wound. And the heavy stubbers. That is going to be 2 hits. These are going to be... Yeah, I got it. Oh, there's ones over there. Getting 1, 10+, all right. And now the Jackal Alphys is going to shoot into him as well. She's got 1 shot, 2-up to hit. That's a hit. 8+ to wound. It's the same on anything that they shoot there, which is pretty cool. With a 3, doesn't do anything. So her weapon actually has sniper rule, which means that you get +2 to hit characters, which is interesting. So she didn't have a character to shoot at, but that's what she went with that. And then this squad's going to fire its auto pistols into him because why not? Roll your dice, right? That's going to be a hit because of the Jackal Alphys' thing. And it's going to be looking for a 9+ SAT. Oh no, it's going to be a 10+ SAT. Hey, with the 10! Auto pistol apparently found a crack in his armor. And then these guys moved up. They both had advanced activations, and they both just advanced up. All right, so now we're moving into the damage phase, because all these blast markers we've done here are going to be damage that gets now determined in this phase. At the beginning of the damage phase, you determine if a unit is routed. So what happens is that, remember at the beginning when I mentioned in the order phase, you mark any units that are out of command? Well, now, at the beginning now of the damage phase, any unit that was marked as out of command is routed and lost. Doesn't matter what happened in the action phase, doesn't matter whatever else happened, it had been marked and therefore it is gone. So you essentially, if you have a situation, so we were talking about it over here. So say now in the damage phase, I kill Belial. He would now nominate one of his other units, whichever one has higher leadership, as his commander within this detachment. So he would have to nominate them, otherwise these ones, one of those two would be out of command of the other one. But if I had killed both of them, suddenly now he has the 2 units in the detachment that are more than 12 inches away from each other, that one would be nominated as the commander and the other one in the beginning of the next orders phase would be marked as out of command and therefore routed at the beginning of the damage phase in the next turn. So kind of an interesting little mechanic there, the way that all works out. So now we are going to start doing damage. So he has to do his super heavies first because super heavies can do more damage to other people. But he's fine. He doesn't have to make any saves over there. So which unit are you going to activate or determine first?
Right here.
I'm going to start over here. So he has one large and one small blast on him, which means he has to make saves on a large and a small dice. What are your...
My save is 5 up.
His save is a 5 up. So the way it works out, he makes both of them like a champ, like a freaking champ. So essentially the way it works is large blast, you have to do your save on a D6. Small blast, you get to do it on a D12. So there's more of a chance to save a small blast than there is a large blast. So he is fine. Those blast markers get removed now, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
So now I gotta do a leadership test.
Oh, so now he has to do a leadership test. How does that work?
So I take a morale test.
A morale test.
D6.
He rolls a D6, 5.
And I add the number of blast markers.
Adds the number of blast markers, so you've got 2, right? Or 3. Is that 3?
That's 2 markers.
It's just 2 markers, so it's just 2 markers there. So it's going to be a 7 now for his leadership.
Beats my leadership, but I do have I'm Adeptus Astartes.
All right, so that beats his leadership. So now he gets to re-roll though because he's Adeptus Astartes into a 3, which would be a 5. He's good to go.
Now they come off.
Now they come off. All right, so now I'm going to check on my jackals over here. They have 2 large blasts, which means I have to roll their leaderships, their saves on the small dice. Their save is a 10 plus, which means that I can't save either of those. They only have 2 wounds. This unit is destroyed. All right, so his Talon Master over here is going to go. He's got 1 large blast. He's got a save of a 6. He's good. Steve, stop it. Stop it. Right. So his leadership test now gets to take. He's got 1 marker on there. 1 plus 2. He is good to go. Of course he is. All right, so now I'm going to activate this one unit over here. I've got 2 large blasts. Their save is 8 plus, so I can't make those on two 6s. But they have a special, and they only got 2 wounds, so they would normally just be dead. But they have a special rule called ignore wounds, 6 plus. So on a 6 plus, they ignore 1 or both of those 2 wounds. And I don't, so he is just dead. All right, so now his dude bros over here are going to activate. They've got 3 wounds. They've got 3 up saves. Failed 1 of them.
Okay, well.
So 1 second to find out. All right, so they have 2 wounds, so he takes 1 wound from that. Now he has to take a leadership test. So he's got 3 markers on him.
Yep.
3 plus. 1 is 4. They are good to go.
And these come off.
So because he took that 1 wound, it means that he's lost half of his wounds, which makes him critically wounded, which makes him -1 to hit, and he's also half as many attacks. So we're going to go into this activation over here. I've got 1 large and 1 small. So for the small one, I can actually make a save of an 8 plus, but of course I won't. So now that's going to be, he's going to be dead unless I can make 2 6-ups. I make neither of them. Bye-bye. And now these guys are going to have a 3-up save on their D12. Oh, just make it, but they make it. And their leadership 7, so they can't fail their leadership. So we're going to go over here to my other rock grinder. 2 big blasts, cannot make those saves. And I make neither of those. He is dead as well. All right, this middle squad here is going to go. They've got 6 large blasts. They've got 6 4-up saves on them. Failed 4 of them, so they are dead. All right, so I'm going to activate my this Leman Russ over here. He's got 1 large and 1 small. He's got a 6-up save. So 6 ups. Making them both! Woo! All right, so his leadership is 5. He's got 2 markers on him, so 2 plus a 6. He fails that, so he takes a wound because of that failed leadership test, marking him down to 1, which means he's also critically injured. Going to have half his attacks, and he's going to have half the attacks and -1 to hit. Same deal for the middle guy over here. Make 1, fail 1, so he takes 1 wound, and then I've got my leadership test. On a 5 plus 2 is 7. He fails that, so he is dead with those 2 wounds. The Biophagus over here, he's got a 10 plus save. Not going to make it with a 1. So he has only 1 wound, so he is dead. Aberrants have a 10 plus save, so they cannot make this, but they ignore wounds on a 6 plus. So ignoring on a 6 plus. Ooh, that was close, but no. So they've got 1 wound there. They've got 2 wounds, so critically injured again. Plus leadership. plus the 2, I think. 1, 3, that should be good to go. Yeah, leadership 6, so they're good. This Aberrant squad's got the same thing, but he's only got a small blast. On an 8, 8 is below. You need to get it below, right? Oh no, 10 plus. No, he failed there. So they're wounded. Leadership on a 3, they're good to go. So again, injured and critically injured. These guys again can't make that because it's a large blast. Do not ignore it. Their leadership on a 4 or 5, they're good to go. All right, these Acolyte hybrids have large blasts on them. They have 10 plus saves and only 2 wounds, so that squad is going to be dead, as is this squad back over here. And my Abominant over here has a large blast, 10 up save, cannot make it, but a 6 up ignoring wounds. Oh, it wanted to, but it didn't. So he is dead as well. All right, that's the end of turn 2. My opponent lost, Steve lost 1 guy over here. That was it.
I'm critically wounded over here.
He's critically wounded over here. As though that makes up for the fact that I've lost all of my Rock Grinders, critically wounded, lost my Abominant and the Biophagus, and lost 2 of my Acolyte squads over here, critically wounded over here, lost these guys, critically wounded over here. Oof, that was a rough turn. All right, so that's going to be the end of turn 1. So now we roll for initiative going into turn 2. I rolled a 7, my opponent rolled 6, so I will have the initiative going forward. So we're now going to go and gather our asset cards, and so you can have a maximum of 10 in your hand. So we're going to have the maximum of 10 in your hand. You can draw, I can draw up to 7, or no, I think it's less now because I think he may have killed some guys. You killed one of them, so then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 warlords left. So I can draw up to 6 cards to 10. Oh, you have to check if anything's out of command at the beginning of the phase here. Everyone's within 12 inches of their commander, which is good.
Cool,
because these guys are my new commander. So yeah, oh, this is an interesting show. I should have shown it. My Abominant died. He was my commander. He was a warlord. So when he dies, the detachment just chooses a new warlord, our new commander. He's not a warlord because it's not a character, but they will now be there. So they don't generate me another a command asset card, but they still will act as the commander for the detachment there, keeping them together. So that is going to be it for that. So everyone's in command. We'll go grab our asset cards and come back to you. Steve's going to be playing some cards, and so am I. Here we go. I am going to play Mind Control. It's a psychic power from Genestealer Cult model. I activate it with a Genestealer Cult Psyker. When I activate it, I can now select one enemy light or heavy unit within 24 inches of that Psyker unit. Make either one free shoot action or one free fight action with the unit as if it were the unit from your army. Sounds like a plan. All right, so I'm going to select with him. I'm going to select this tank. He is going to shoot into his partner next to him over here. So we're going to have 2 attacks hitting on 3s. That's 2 hits. Looking for 6s to wound. Oh, All right, that didn't go as planned, but another psychic power, Might from Beyond. So now what's going to happen is he is now going to be selected, and all friendly Genestealer Cult units within 6 inches of him add 1 to their attacks characteristics for the phase.
Whoa.
We're also going to go Blood and Guts onto this, select this detachment. When used until the end of the phase, reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by the units in that detachment. We're also going to use Experimental Subjects. Command asset can be used in the action phase. Select 1 detachment from your army led by a Twisted Helix commander. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the wounds rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by Twisted Helix units in this detachment. We're going to make this one work. Let's do it! All right, so these guys all moved in here, touching into his guys over here, which is great to keep them from shooting at me. And these guys here now are going to start with these guys. So they're critically injured with the 1 wound there, which means that the +1 wound attack that they get from Might from Beyond makes their characteristic 2, which gets halved because of being critically wounded back down to 1. So their attacks are ×2 over here. So these are going to be hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s because of Blood and Guts. Re-rolling 1s because of Blood and Guts with 2 hits. And looking for 6+ because they get +1 to wound because of Experimental Subjects. Getting 1. The second one in here is going to attack the middle guy. They aren't injured there, so they're going to have 2 attacks ×2 because of their weapons, so 4 attacks here. Hitting on 3s. That is going to be 4 hits. These are now going to be wounding on 6+ because of Experimental Subjects. That is going to be 1, 2, 3. And then these guys are going to attack into this one. Rerolling 1s because of Blood and Guts. Okay, so that's going to be 3 hits. These are now going to be wounding on 6s. That's 1, 2. All right, so Steve now activated his detachment over here, showing that they had the advance activation, which allows them to move and shoot and or fight. So he actually used it to move these guys out of combat with these guys, also out of range for them if they were to for their assaults over here. And he moved him slightly up over this way. So that's going to be that for the movement part of it. We'll come back to you with him shooting. All right, so he's going to fire his twin heavy bolter into my dude bros over here. One of his twin las cannons into one Leman Russ and one into the other here. So where do you want to start?
Let's start with Leman Russ into the blue.
All right, into the blue Leman Russ over there. Leman Russ into the blue.
Hitting on 3s.
That's 2 hits.
5s.
That is 2 wounds. And now the other twin las cannon into the other Chimera over there. Land Raider. Leman Russ. Get those words out of your mouth. Gonna have 2 wounds. And then the twin heavy bolter into my wounded aberrants over here. That's not going to hit.
Well.
All right, so Steve is going to use his Shadow Master's card, which will allow him to re-roll the hit, because it has 2 options. One if you're Raven Guard, which he's not. But one if you're just Adeptus Astartes, you can use to re-roll that hit roll.
I'm going to stay with the Flesh is Weak.
And he's going to use the same with the Flesh is Weak, so you can re-roll both of those. Into 1 hit.
And 7.
Looking for a 7? No.
Well.
Stop using cards! Reroll the wound. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to use a psychic power from him into his guy over there called Sonic Blast. I choose a unit within 24 inches of the Psyker. I then roll 1d12. If it is less than his leadership, he takes 1 blast. If it is equal to or greater than, he takes 2 blasts. 7 is...
What was your target?
Him over here.
I believe he's only 6.
He might be only 6, so he will take 2 blasts. He's 6. All right, so this unit's going to activate. I'm actually not going to move them. I'm actually happy with where they're at. So we're going to go with the first Kellermorph over here. He's going to fire into these guys. So he's going to have 2 shots, hitting on 2s. That is going to be 2 hits. These are now going to be wounding on 8s. Getting 1. And the second Kellermorph is going to do the exact same thing, but he gets to reroll 1 since he actually successfully wounded him over there, or put the blast marker on there. So that's going to be still 2 hits. Again, wounding on 8s. Getting no wounds. All right, so Steve activated his Deathwing Knights. They had the charge activation and charged in over here. So this squad was over here, moved around here. Belial charged into this squad, and these guys got into both my acolytes and into my dude bros over here. So that's going to be that movement. Now into the activation, we're going to go with these guys first. They're going to have one attack, which gets halved down to half because of being critically injured, back up to 1 times 3. So here we go, hitting on 3s, getting one hit.
Everything because of Belial.
Real roll everything because of Belial, or as I like to call him, Cheat Lyle.
Cheat Lyle.
Cheat Lyle.
5.
Looking for 5s, getting 3. Brutal. Boom. Onto them over here. Now Belial's going to activate, attacking into these dude bros.
1 attack on a 2.
1 attack on a 2. Reroll because of himself. Oh, that was close, but he got it.
7.
7.
Shouldn't have.
And then these guys are going to attack into these guys over here. Getting 2 hits, but reroll 1 hit because of re-rolling into 3 hits.
And it was 5.
5s. So all 3. F in the chat for these guys. Eek. All right, so now I'm going to activate these guys, but when I do, I am going to spend the card Overwhelming Firepower. This command asset can be used when you select a detachment from your army to carry out an aimed fire order before any units from that detachment make any actions this phase. When used until the end of the phase, reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by units in that detachment. All right, so we're going to start with him. He's obscured to his target over here, so he's going to fire. He's going to be hit on 6s because he's -1 to hit from obscured, -1 to hit from being critically wounded. So that's going to make him hitting on 6s, but he does get to reroll 1s because of Overwhelming Firepower. So we're going to go with the Battle Cannon first. Nope, nothing there. And then his Las Cannon. Rerolling 1s because of Overwhelming Firepower. Oh, nothing. And now this guy is going to be firing into him. He's not obscured and not injured, so he's going to be hitting on 4s with the Battle Cannon. Not getting a hit, and then with the Las Cannon. Yep! So now Steve's going to activate this detachment over here. They took aimed fire, so they're going to get +1 to hit. He's going to start with these guys. They're going to fire into the Kellermorph.
Yep.
So he has because they're on terrain and they're a light character, they get obscured.
But it doesn't. Their characters already obscured.
Characters are already obscured.
Yeah.
I thought if they're on terrain, right? Isn't that how it works?
Also, he's a character, so he's obscured.
1 second. Never mind, all light characters are obscured, basically, they're treated as obscured, so they have -1 to hit them over here. So these are going to be hitting on 4s, or hitting on 3s because it's +1. So that's going to be 3 hits.
These are Las Cannons.
Las Cannons. So it needs 10s to wound because against personnel. Getting 1 though!
Alright.
Next squad's going to do the exact same thing. That's all hits, because it's +1, -1. 1 wound. So now these guys here are going to supercharge into my Leman Russ back over here. Plasma. Ooh, he takes a blast marker.
We are rerolling 1s because of the master.
Oh, rerolling 1s because of the master. Oh, doesn't. Oh, he does hit on 2 because he's not obscured. So that's going to be 4 hits.
So 7s early, but
7s to wound. Oh, 6s because of supercharge. So it's 3 wounds. And then his Dubro over here is going to fire both his weapons into my second Kellermorph over here because that Kellermorph has the large blast. He would have to make a 9+ save on a D6, and he only has the 1 wound. So womp womp. So here comes his shots into the other guys. Twin Las. Rerolling 1s. That's 2 hits.
And
10s. No. The missile. That's a hit.
7.
7. No. All right, we're going to activate these guys. She's going to mark the guy on the right there as her preferred target, and then he's going to start us off by shooting into it with his heavy mining laser. So hitting on a 4 or hitting on a 3 because of her ability. That is a hit. So that heavy mining laser is going to be wounding on a 5. Yep. And here comes the heavy stubbers. Those are going to be 1 hit, and this is going to be looking for a 10. Ooh, wrong die I was rolling there. Hey, that's a wound. Now my other Ridge Runner is going to fire his mining laser into that guy over there and his heavy stubber. So we're going to go with the mining laser first. That's not a hit. And then we've got the heavy stubbers. Getting no hits. And now my Jackal Alpha is actually going to fire into the one on the left over there. Hitting on a 2. That's a hit. Wounding on an 8. That's a wound. All right, so this squad activated. They had the advance, so that's the one that lets them move and shoot. So they moved over this way. This guy in the middle here is going to fire his heavy bolter into my middle squad of aberrants, and then he's going to fire the missiles into my blue tank over there. So what do you want to do first?
Let's do missiles.
Missiles first.
3.
That is 2 hits.
7.
Looking for 7s, getting 2 wounds. And then the heavy bolter, 2s and 7s,
right,
or 3s and 7s.
Yeah.
Woo, nothing there. This one is going to put his heavy bolters into this wounded aberrant squad, and the missiles into the front Achilles Ridge run over there. So missiles first.
Missiles.
No hits. And now into the heavy bolters. 1 hit.
Take it. 7.
No wound. His heavy bolter is going to go into the wounded squad as well.
Oh.
Getting 2 hits.
And 7.
He knows how to shoot them. And 7s, that's going to be 1. Another Talonmaster is going to fire his assault cannon into these guys, heavy bolters into them. So assault cannon first. That's going to be 3 hits.
And 6s.
Wounding on 6s. 1, 2. And then the heavy bolters into the other squad. Getting 1 hit.
Okay. 7s.
No wound. And now I activated this detachment. They moved in. 2 of the Genestealer squads could get into base to base, as did my Patriarch. But this one had to come in behind and didn't make it. So we'll go with the first one over there. They're going to have 3 attacks here, hitting on 3s. That's going to be 2. All right, so they're actually hitting on 2s because of the Patriarch there. So it's going to be 2 wounds, looking for 8s. Getting 1 wound. That second squad's going to attack in. Getting 3 hits. Looking for 8s to wound. Getting 1 wound. And now my Patriarch's going to attack in. He's got 1 attack on a 2. Nope. And now Steve has activated his knight and had the assault order there. So he charged in over here into my Genestealers, into my aberrants, I'm sorry. So what are these going to do?
Well, 4 attacks with that Thunderstrike Gauntlet.
4 attacks with the Thunderstrike Gauntlet. Hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
Getting 3 hits.
And this is a 6 up.
6 up against personnel. Getting 1.
Destroyer.
It's Destroyer, so it does a large blast instead, or 2 blast markers, which become a large blast. All right, so now this detachment is going to activate over here with my aberrants. We're going to start with these guys in the middle attacking into Belial. So they're going to have 2 attacks hitting on 3s. That's 1 wound. Looking for a 5 up. No. 2 attacks from here into his Deathwing Knights. That's 2 hits. Should have gotten the other one before. 5s. That's 2 wounds. And then these guys into his Deathwing Knights. That's going to be 1 hit. And a wound. All right, so now this detachment is going to activate. They have the assault attachment order, so they moved around here, and these guys stayed in combat with this. Those rock cutters actually aren't in the game, so they got either rock saws or rock drills, so we're going to do rock saws here. So they've got 4 attacks with them, hitting on 3s. That is going to be 3 hits. These are going to be looking for 5s against personnel. Getting 1. And then the Acolyte weapons, that's going to be 2 hits. Getting 1 wound. And then the Acolyte Icon Ward is going to attack in there. 1 attack. That's a hit. Looking for an 8. Nope. All right, so into the damage phase now. These guys already have a wound, and they have a large blast for their 10-up save is not going to be able to be made. So they are dead. Then these guys, large blast, 1 wound, dead. These guys over here, though, have 1 wound, have no wounds, have a large blast and a small blast. So the small blast is possible to get a 10-up. Nope. So they are also dead. All right, his Deathwing Knights over here have a 3-up save. No, so they are dead. 3 up. I was thinking under 3, whatever. He got it. He's good.
Can't fail from 7.
Now they have leadership 7, so they can't even fail their leadership test. These guys over here have 2 3-ups. Fail 1, so they take 1 flesh wound, and they can possibly fail their 7-up.
Yes.
No, they're good. All right, this Leman Russ has 2 large blasts and 1 small blast. He has a 6-up save. He's already got 1 wound, so if I fail 1 of these, he's dead. Oh, almost. But not enough. He's dead. And he has 2 large blasts on him. Failing them both, so he is also dead. All right, so now we're going to go over here. These guys have a 5-up save. We've got Ooh,
oh, no!
Not enough. He is dead. This guy back here. No, he's also dead. And he is going to be totally fine. Wow.
Leadership, I could
leadership.
Fail. And
7,
I do fail.
6. He only has 6, so he takes 1 wound.
Sorry, roll.
Oh, re-roll leadership, and he's good now. These guys over here are just going to be dead, and they're just going to take a wound. And then my Kellermorph over here is just going to be dead. All right, so that was rough. I've got very little models left here, but we'll see what we can do here. So we're going to go into the initiative phase for the next turn with a 12 to my 2. Steve is going to be taking it. All right, so we've drawn our asset cards. We have also checked to make sure everyone is in command range. Everybody is. So now we're going to move on to the orders being given. We've given orders to everybody. These guys are going to charge. These guys are going to charge. These guys are just going to advance, charge, and these guys over here are going to take aim. His are pretty simple too. He's going to advance. These guys, which is all of the Terminators here, are going to charge. They're going to take aim. They're going to advance. And these guys are going to advance as well. So that's going to be it for the orders here. We will now come back to you with the first activation for Steve here.
Asshole.
Oh, Steve! He activated his dude bros over here, making an impenetrable wall of jerk faces that I can't charge through. But hopefully, they can charge into him? Maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. So that's where he's activated them. Now they're going to shoot at me. All right, so now they're going to fire. He's going to fire Twin Las, and Heavy Bolters into my wounded guys here. So the first Twin Las into the green guy. Going to get 1 hit.
5.
That's a wound. Into the other one. That's 2 hits. And that's 1 wound. And the Heavy Bolters into those Aberrants.
3.
Getting 3 hits.
Oh, it's 7.
It's going to get 1. And that's going to be 2. All right, JK, it only has 2 shots for the Twin Heavy Bolter over here. That's going to be 1 hit and no wound. And now the Demolisher is going to fire into my unwounded Aberrants over here. That's going to be 1 hit. That is not a wound. All right, so we're going to activate this squad over here, this detachment over here, and my Kellermorph is going to fire into these guys. So he's going to have 2 shots, hitting on 2s. That's going to be 2 hits. Wounding on 8s. Oh no, those aren't going to wound though. Now Steve's going to activate this squad over here. They detachment over here. They kind of shifted around to get some line of sight on the targets that they want to shoot at. All right, so Steve said he fired his Heavy Bolters too many times last time, so he's not going to fire them this time. Very sporting of him. So now we're going to go into, this guy is going to fire into my blue Ridge Runner over there with his missiles. That is going to be 2 hits.
And 7s.
7s, 2. And the other guy here is going to go into the other one. Getting 2 hits. And getting 1 wound. And then the Assault Cannon is going to go into the unwounded guys back over there. That's going to be 2 hits. And that's going to be no wounds. All right, so I'm going to activate these guys. They had the Assault, so they ran into this guy over here. So we're going to go with the Aberrant squad over here. That's going to be 1 hit. That is a wound. And now the second squad's going to do the same. Getting 1 hit. Getting a wound. And now my Patriarch. That's going to hit. Whoa. That's not going to wound. This squad's going to activate. The Laz are going to fire into my Locust over there. Hitting on 3s because it's +1 for aim. -1 because of being obscured. Rerolling 1s because of the Master. All 4 hits. These are looking for 10s though. Getting none. Next squad's going to do the same thing. Reroll that 1. All right, so that's going to be 3 hits. Getting no wounds. And the Plasma is going to go into my Kellermorph over there. That's going to be 3 hits.
And this is 7s.
7s because he didn't supercharge, getting 1. And now the Venerable Dreadnought's going to fire into my Kellermorph over there. Las cannons. Rerolling because of the Master. That is 2 hits.
Give me that 10.
That is 1 wound. And the missiles. That's a hit.
7.
That's a wound. Now my Acolytes are going to activate. We're going to go with the Rock Saws first. That is going to be all hits there. And now I've got 4 looking for, whoop, they're going all over the place, 5s. Getting 2. And now with the Acolyte weapons. That's 1 hit. That is not a wound. And then the Acolyte Icon Ward. That's a hit. That is a wound. And now this dude bro over here is going to activate. So he made his assault action, and he is coming over here to attack into my Acolytes. So we're going to go with his fist first.
It is hitting on 2.
Hitting on 2s. That's going to be 3 hits.
And all the tools.
Oop. Losing 12 ups over here. Oh, they're all over here where I was standing.
I think we're looking for 6s.
Looking for 6s. That's going to be 1. Destroyer, though, so that means it does 2 blast markers, which makes it just 1 large one. All right, so because he's a knight, he's a super heavy, and he advances, he can shoot and fight when he advances over here. So he gets to do both. So he did the fight over here, but he can't target them because. So here's the thing: they can shoot at things even though they're in combat. But choosing a target, you can't choose a target that is engaged in combat. So they're not an eligible target to shoot at because they're engaged. Unless if it was 2 super heavies punching each other, they could also shoot each other, which would be cool. I want to see that one day. I want to see that one day. I want to see like 2 knights like charge into each other, like punching each other and shooting each other. Oh, that's going to be fun. Anyway, so now he can shoot, and he's going to shoot into the bikers over here. So he gets 2 hits.
And 4s.
4s to wound. Getting 2 wounds. Now these guys are going to activate over here. So we're going to go with the mining laser into that dude bro over there, into his Land Raider. That is not a hit. Oh no, it is +8 because she gave the +1 as the preferred target. Oh, nice. So that's going to be wounding on a 10. Heavy stubbers. Getting 1 hit. That is, ooh, maybe a wound. Now I needed a 10 for that to go. So now we're going to go into the next guy. That's a hit with the mining laser. That is not a wound. And then his heavy stubbers. That's going to be 2 hits. 1 wound. And the Jackal Alphys is also going to shoot into him. She's got a hit. Looking for an 8. No. So now he's going to activate these guys who are going to assault. Belial standing exactly 12 inches between the two because this squad charged into my dude bros over on this side, and these guys stayed in combat with these guys. So who do you want to go first?
Let's go over here.
We're going to go over here. These are going to be 3 attacks.
Hitting on 3s.
That's 3 hits.
Was it 5s? I forget.
Yeah.
At least 6.
2 wounds. And they're going to go into the character over here.
Okay,
that's going to be.
I'm going to spend 2 cards.
He's going to spend 2 cards
I have a bunch of rerolls.
to rerolls because he's got a bunch of Astartes ones that he doesn't have the chapter, but at the bottom they have access for the Adeptus Astartes, so it just gives them rerolls instead, which is kind of interesting. So that's going to be 3 hits. That is going to be 2 wounds. All right, so now this detachment activated. They're going to fight into his Land Raider. We're going to go with the first squad, 3 attacks on 2s because of the Patriarch there. That is 3 hits. I need 1 more D12. 1 second. Should have had 3, didn't expect to make that many hits. Looking for 8s against tanks. Getting 3, I'll take that, woo! And now the next squad. Getting 3 hits. Getting no wounds. And the third squad. Getting 3 hits. Getting 3 wounds again! And now the Patriarch. That is going to be a hit. That is going to be a wound. All right, so that's it for the action phase. So now we're going to go into the damage phase. So we're going to start over here with my guys. They both are just going to be dead because their armor save cannot be done on a... they got 1 wound each, and their armor save cannot be done on a D6. And then these guys over here have a 3-up. Makes them both... Can fail the leadership and does, but rerolling because of his Astartes. And he takes a known. And that's they're dead because of the leadership fail. Dang. These guys over here are just going to take their wound and be wounded. And this guy is just straight up dead. All right, their leadership is 6. So let's see if they are dead. Oh, Philface! Philface, why now? Why? All right, so my Achille Ridge Runners have an 8-up save, so I can only make 1 save on the small blast there, which I make. Nice. So, but leadership over here on these guys is going to be leadership 8+. So they can't fail here. Oh, no.
Nope,
yeah.
You can get an 8, that's all you get.
Yeah, because all I can get is an 8. So I'll take that. All right, there we go. And then he's going to just take the 1 wound. So they each both take 1 wound. It's an 8-up save. It's a 5-up leadership. I was looking in the wrong column. So 2 plus 2 is 4. He's okay. He just takes the 1 wound. This guy, 1 plus 4 is 5, and he's okay. All right. So I was right, just a little bit premature. He's got a 5-up save to make. No, does not make it. So he takes a wound. And his leadership.
Reroll.
Oh, has to reroll. Oh, he's okay.
1 wound.
So he takes that 1 wound and means he's crippled, or like, critically wounded. Critically wounded. What that means is that you are, when you're firing heavy weapons, you're -1 to hit. You also half all of your close combat attacks. So he is going to be -1 to hit with that heavy weapon, which is pretty substantial. These guys over here cannot make their save because it is a 10 plus, and then they have their leadership of 6. So D6 plus 1 is good to go. So they are good to go. And then he's got 4-up saves to make. Failing 2 of them, so he's still alive, but now he has to take a leadership test. 5 plus 5 is out. It's going to be fail, so reroll.
Oh, okay.
Into a 5. So that is 3 wounds, and he is dead.
Did I say 3?
You said 3.
Then he's dead.
Oh, you said 3. We're going to find out. Hold on. Yeah, 3 wounds. He is dead. All right, so that was the end of turn 3. So we were going to go into the beginning phase with the roll for initiative. Now going into turn 4. 2 and a 10. So Steve will have the initiative yet again. So I'm going to use the Strategic Brilliance card, which will allow me to search my deck and pick out a card from there and then put it into my hand. All right, move into the orders phase here. We've put them all down and revealed them. These guys are going to have a aimed shot. These guys are going to assault. These guys are going to assault. He's going to assault over here, along with these guys over here, because they're going to try to get their double move is what they're looking for. They are going to advance, as are they. And then he's also going to advance over there. So that's going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the first activation for Steve. All right, so Steve has activated these skimmers over here. Essentially, they've spread out over here with this guy acting as a blocking action against some charges coming through here. Pretty interesting. So an interesting point to be made here. This guy is now more than 12 inches away from him. At the beginning of the orders phase, you mark units that are out of command. They get a marker on them. Then you check at the end of their activation if they've gone back into command range. Then you remove the marker. If that marker is still there at the damage phase, that unit is routed and taken out of the game, and they are just removed from the table. But what it does is it allows you to get some of these movements here, like on this turn, moving out of command range doesn't mean that he automatically dies or that anything bad happens to him. All it means is that at the beginning of next order phase, this unit will be marked as out of command, which will mean that during his activation, if he chose aimed fire, for instance, and couldn't move, he would be removed at the end of that turn. But he has an entire activation to get back, so he can put advance, consolidate them back together then, or do a charge and then double move them together. As long as they end up within 12 by the end of his next activation, they'll be fine. So that's kind of interesting. All right, so he's going to start us off with a heavy bolter into these guys over here, which one? There's like 3. The far right over here, and then missiles into my Ridge Runner.
Heavy bolter.
Heavy bolter. That's a hit.
And 7.
Looking for 7. No wound. And then you've got the 2 missiles. That is 2 hits.
7.
That is 1 wound. Same split from this guy over here, so we'll go with the heavy bolter first. Nope. No hit, and then into the missiles. That's going to be 2 hits.
And 7.
Looking for 7. Getting 2. And this guy over here is going to put everything into the far guys over there, so we're going to go with the heavy bolters, twin heavy bolters.
7.
No wounds there.
I'm going to throw away a card to reroll.
He's going to use a card to reroll.
Nope.
Nope, no wound there. And the twin assault cannon. Oh, 1 hit.
Oh, what if? I'm going to do reroll.
He's going to use another card, so 2 hits.
And 6s.
6s, getting 1.
You know what?
He's going to give another 1. into a second wound. Yeah, so the cards he had there, he had a lot of Adeptus Astartes just because we were trying to figure out how to build a deck, and it's still the early phases trying to figure out how to do. So he took a lot of the Adeptus Astartes ones that he doesn't have the specific chapter for it, but they give you specific rerolls of wounds or hits that you can do. So yeah, Black Templar, Death Watch, Fist. It's kind of cool that they have specific tactics for them. But, you know, if you're not playing, then you're still usable, even if you're just playing a regular Marine army. And then he's going to fire into the middle group over here.
Ooh.
That is a hit.
Oh, the details walked away.
Oh, the details running away.
7.
Oh! All right, so I activated this detachment here, so it's going to have these guys have all charged into the 3 separate speeders. So we're going to go with this one over here with these guys attacking it here. 3 attacks. Hitting on 2s because of him. That's going to be 3 hits. Looking for, what are we looking for? Might be 7s. 1 second. He actually needed 8, so got 1 on there. And then the Patriarch's attack. That's going to hit. That's not going to wound. These guys are going to attack into this one. That's 3 hits. That's no wounds. And then these guys. That's going to be 3 hits. Getting 1 wound. All right, so he activated his knight who charged around this way, getting into my ridge run over here. So he's going to be hitting on 2s. That is going to be 3 hits. And looking for 6s against vehicles. So that's going to be 1.
Destroyer.
But it's Destroyer, so womp. These guys are now going to attack, so we're going to go with the Aberrant. That's going to be no hits. Then the second squad of Aberrants is going to get 2 hits. These are going to be maybe 1 wound. Yep, that 8's a wound. And my Patriarch is going to hit. Not going to wound. JK, that is a wound. He activated by pulling out over here. Phrasing. All right, so she's going to declare him as the preferred target, and then he is going to fire into him over here. That is not a hit. And then his heavy stubbers. One of those hits. Doesn't wound. And then she's going to fire. That's a hit. Well, wrong die. I thought I picked up the... And no wound. And then this guy's activated, kind of shuffled around. Do they have line of sight on anyone not engaged? Oh, they do, because you left them over here. So we're going to be firing into here. So what are you going to do first?
Last cannons into the character.
Last cannons into the Patriarch over there.
Actually, no, so, the wounded squad.
Into the wounded squad over there.
So 3s.
Yep.
And 10s.
10s.
There we go.
Getting 1. Same thing from these guys into them. Ooh, that's going to be reroll 1 because of the master. Nope. So it's 2 hits. Looking for 10s. No.
I'm going to spend a reroll.
He's going to spend a reroll.
Nope.
No. And then he's going to fire into them as well.
Oh, last cannons.
No, rerolling though. All right, 2 hits.
Give me a 10.
Getting 2 wounds. And then the missile. That's a hit.
7.
7, that's a wound. And then these guys are going to supercharge into my Aberrant squad over here.
3s.
3s to hit. Reroll 1s. Oh. There we go. Not blowing up there.
6s.
6s because of the +1 to wound. Oh no, 5s because of that, right?
No, it's 7s down to 6s.
It's 7s down to 6s?
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be 1 wound. I have no more detachments, so these guys are just going to advance up around over this way. All right, so into the damage phase. My Aberrants over here cannot make a save on those 2 things, so it's going to be, they're going to be dead unless I can ignore wounds on 6s. Nope, so they are going to be dead. These guys do have a save. They can have a 10-up save. Nope, ignoring wounds on a 6. No, they take that wound. And they have leadership 6. Okay, good. Leadership's actually good because the Patriarch was there. These pure strains are just dead. All right, this speeder over here.
6 up save.
6 up save.
That's
no, he takes a wound. He only has 1 wound, so he is dead. And then this guy over here.
I'll check him in a second. This guy's also a 6.
This guy's also a 6. Makes that one.
Leadership for him.
But leadership for him is good to go. And then we've got the Talonmaster. We'll look that up. And the Talonmaster has a 6-up save. Oh, and he takes the wound. How many wounds does he have?
He's got 2.
He's got 2. His leadership. Oh, it's not enough.
Because we're
Astartes. Oh, and he's good. That would have been cool. And this guy's got 1 big blast.
5 up.
5 up. No. So he is going to be dead as well. I've got my guys over here. He's just going to be dead because he can't make the save there. Same thing with him. Pretty brutal. All right, so that is the end of turn 4. And with that, I think we're going to call it because he's got a lot that he's just going to wail into me as I go around, especially this big bro. He's going to be just, he's a big deal. He's a big deal. I mean, they should be, though. That's kind of what they're supposed to do. So if they weren't a big deal, I'd be more shocked than it. So this game is a ton of fun, especially once you start to get to know what's going on. Once you know what you have to do, how to do it, it really starts to flow and it really starts to go. I was describing this. I was talking with Matthew from Mini Wargaming and talking about like what we felt about this. And I said that it is surprisingly easy to play this game. Because you think about Apocalypse and you think about how complex that is, how many models, all of the minutia that goes into playing a game of Apocalypse. And this really minimizes all of that, which is amazing. It makes it super fun to be able to play, super fun to be able to just get all of your models out there, throw them around. This guy's got 6 wounds. So if I really started to look at, like, to focus onto him, I could have taken him down. It's not impossible. Yeah, Savvy's got a 5-up save. You know, the guys with the Storm Shields have 3-up saves, but I mean, they've got Storm Shields. That's what we're supposed to do. Yeah. So, and the way it's worked out is basically every 5 wounds that you would have had, they've given you 1 wound in this game, is essentially how it goes. So, like, these guys would have had 10 wounds as a squad. They get 2 wounds, and so on. That's kind of what we worked out. Matthew noticed that, so I was like, that's a great thing to look at there. So, but yeah, it's a ton of fun. What are your thoughts on this game?
Okay, so I can't believe how smooth everything kind of works.
Yeah.
We barely had to look at the rule books just to double check these we already actually knew.
Yeah.
And I want to see how, or if I can get away with doing a lot of my regular bat reps in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
This is stupid fun.
Yeah, it's stupid fun. I think you have to bump up the model count a little bit because the problem is, like, if you get too low on the model count, the detachment system kind of falls apart. The tactical nuances of moving things around falls apart. But to a certain level, I mean, we played, this is 185 that we played with this, and it went really smooth. 300 is the total between the two, is the minimum they required. So we played a game of 150 versus 150 between Matt and I, and that also felt good. Worked well, went well, and that's about 3,000 points he had about there. I think in my list, and you can check it actually on Mini Wargaming. You could go check their battle. It's going to be coming up like almost exactly the same time as this, which is when they're allowed to go up. But you have, I had a Castellan, I had a Valiant, and then I had 2 of the Dark Talons. I had they were pretty good. They were pretty good, but they're 2 wounds each, so that's the thing. And if you can take them, things will die. I had a Deathwing Knight squad, and I had 2 Terminator squads, a Scout squad, a Tactical squad, an Intercessor squad, and Azrael. So that's what I had at 150 power level.
I love that. We can bring Terminators.
Yeah, the Terminators are coming in. They're super useful. They're really good in this game, which is fun. No, I think they're appropriately good. If you get those 3s, you can really tank it. But I mean, like any game, if you roll those 3s, you can tank it. That's just how it works. So, but yeah, it is a ton of fun, and it goes smoothly. It goes faster than you would ever think a game called Apocalypse ever could, which is what really boggles my mind, which is what I've been really appreciating about this game. They've got some really the cards are really fun. They really add like a whole nother flavor. There's ways that you can suddenly like take wounds off of things in the damage phase. So you could be sitting there being like, I think I've got them taken down. They're not going to be able to make that many saves. All of a sudden it comes to the damage phase, you play a card, and now they don't have as many of those wound markers on there, and suddenly it's like, well, they're good to go, and then they're fine.
Making me change my orders.
Yeah.
That was so
Turn
cool.
1, making him change his orders when he dropped down here and he goes, well, now I can't make that charge. What am I going to do about this? Totally changes how the game flows, which is great. So it really throws in that whole nother level of tactical thinking, and every move that you make, you have to figure out like who goes first. It's like, if I charge with these guys, then I can't shoot with them. But if I shoot with them, then they're going to be left out in the open to get shot at by his other units. All of those things go into it. So it's a very tactical, very fun game that runs smoothly, which is amazing. That's really what you want from a rule set. So
they did a good job.
They did a really good job with this. I'm very, very impressed. I'm very impressed myself too. And I didn't even think I was going to really enjoy it because like every one of the apocalyptic battle reports that I've done or apocalyptic games that I've done are just a mess. There's so many models. They're draining. There's so many dice. You're trying to keep track, and it's just when you get to that level of points and models for a regular 40K game, it just becomes too much minutia and too much that you just have to grind through. That is just not as much fun. So this game was fun, and it takes away a lot of the minutia. It goes through, you're removing models and doing all the fun stuff that you really want from an Apocalypse game without having to drudge your way through it.
I feel we were remembering our dinosaurs quite well
by the end of this game. By the end of the game, you really start to remember what everything's doing.
One game we
were
doing.
Exactly. One game and you start knowing what you're doing. The one mistake I did make, which I realized in between a couple of rounds that we had here, is that the faction rules for the Gene Stealer cult basically allowed me to cult ambush, and I forgot to do that. So that's a little bit of a punch to the gut, which may have made a difference. I don't even know if it would have made a super difference. Maybe I would have been able to get my pure strains into battle a bit easier.
They got into my lines, they did well.
That's true. They did start ripping things up once they got in there, so it may have been nice to have been able to get them in there a bit easier. But c'est la vie. That's what it is. This was more of a learning thing to get an idea of the mechanics of how this goes on. We'll get into like the specifics later on as we go on. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I certainly have. I have been Phil the Glacial Geek as always. My opponent's been Steve of Mountain Miniatures Gaming and Mini War Gaming fame. And until next time, have fun. You say happy wargaming. I say have fun. Have fun. He says happy wargaming. I say have fun. Have fun while happy wargaming.
There we go.
There we go.